So, Hide or Die, testing, phase 1.5. As we laid out in the last update, we want to complete a this is the developers writing this. As we laid out in the last update, we want to complete a server stress test on our new server configuration. So they're going to be doing that, and it's going to be, everything is going to be starting December 14th at 8 p.m. Central CDT. So you guys, we get 3 days. So that's going to be a really fun 3 days, but I'm going to try to play as many hours as I can. You guys, this next phase, I think they said this one's going to be able to be streamed as well. So those of you that don't know what Hide or Die is, and you didn't get to see the alpha, and you didn't get to see or be a part of the last beta, then this time come December 14th, which is 7 days from now, I will be streaming this for many hours since it's only 2 days. Or 3 days. Maybe they'll extend it if people like it. I don't know. But I will be doing long hours if they do let it stream. The first time I really wanted to do long hours on their first phase, but I do have to stream for a living, so I could only play their beta for like 1 or 2 hours. It really didn't. I got enough from it to know what needed to be changed, right? I digested it enough to feel what, you know, what the bad parts and then the good parts of it were. So that said, yeah, we'll be putting in many hours on that. And then, of course, like 2 days after that, literally, last year, Nightmare comes out. The Nightmare. So lots of fun happening in just 7 days. So phase 1.5 changes. As you know, we sent out a survey to gather feedback from our first testing phase and had about 20% of the testers respond. Roughly 20%. We took the feedback and made some changes to address this feedback. Although, can you believe that? Only 20% of the people that played the beta responded and gave feedback. Come on, you guys. Come on. They weren't joking. Yeah, no. Okay, when you play the beta, fucking write some feedback. Jeez. Okay. Some people just want the beta and then they play it and then they... It's almost like when you buy a product and then you don't leave a review for the store, you know. But yeah. Anyway, we took the feedback, because who fills out those forms, right? We took the feedback and made some changes to address this feedback. Although we had no intention of making any changes for this test, we couldn't resist pushing out a few changes for the next test build, basically. So, maps. First thing we addressed are some map changes that needed to be made. Feedback called out the river map. Feedback called out the river map as being too spread out, having bad player pathing and some collision issues. And we've opened up some additional paths to allow players to get to the power towers easier without having to run around large cliff structures. Those of you that don't know what Hide or Die is, by the way, it is a asymmetrical horror game, 16 versus 1, or actually I guess it's 15v1, once one of the players gets the killer. So there's 15 people running around, one person gets the killer, and then it's, the killer is very deadly. That's why it can support up to so many people. The killer is very deadly. If you're spotted, you're gonna have a hard time living. But they've changed some stuff, so it's gonna play differently this next time we get our hands on it. So interest points have been moved off the edges and pulled in closer, and we added a large dam structure on the site with lighting, basically is what they've done. So that way people don't get lost. They will be able to remember more. They're setting up, if you see, they're setting up, what do you call it? Interest points. You know, places you remember, you know, with your eye, you know, like when you, it's like when you get up in the morning and when you would ride the bus to school, you know, you have things, points of interest that you remember, so you kind of get an idea of where you're at, what direction you're going, all that kind of thing. So they made that easier with the pathing and all that, so it's not, you don't feel lost all the time. So that's good. And then we've decided to cycle out the swamps map as we take care of some needed alterations and substitute in the community map. So they're taking out the swamp map, you guys, and they're putting in Wonder World. It's not complete. They probably won't even have the lighting on the Ferris wheel and the cool lighting, you know, because it's not going to be daylight either. The only reason it's daylight in this picture is to show it off they're still working on it. But we've decided to cycle out the swamps map as we take care of some needed alterations and substitute in the community map from our first Kickstarter stretch goal. This is the map funded by you, designed by you, and had its early development streamed by Chrysomatic. Although the map is not finished, we wanted to get it in for a round of testing to see how it plays out. Here are some shots of the current state of the map, all daylight so you can see them better. There it is, Wonder World. It's gonna be like a little, you know, not quite Disney World, but like a Carowinds, you know, or a Six Flags, kind of like. So there you go. Got the Ferris wheel. Imagine running from the killer in there. Lots of hiding places. You can hide in the grass, you know, these little tents, you know. So definitely mixing it up. Got all these cool little zigzags you'll have to run from the killer. It's gonna feel like that movie that came out recently, the one where they're in the theme park trying to, you know, live. I haven't even seen it yet. What was that movie, y'all? I still need to watch it. I never got to the theater to watch it, so now I have to figure out, you know, when it's gonna come out. And then the gameplay, these are probably the most important changes we are adding in phase 1.5, which are direct Hellfest. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Hellfest, that's the one. These are probably the most important changes going down. It's more encounters, close call encounters between survivors and the hunter. Getting in that, which was basically the thing that problem was, is the killer would see the survivor and then just, it was gonna be a guaranteed death usually. There's no give or take. There needs to be a little bit of give or take with the killer and the survivors. So, and they'll explain how they fix that later. Getting in these are the problems. Getting insta-killed in hideables disincentivizes hiding, so people don't want to hide because they're going to get insta-killed. Survivors need a better reason to risk death by completing fuse boxes. Hunters not knowing what they need to defend. Okay, so they're fixing the fuse boxes. The number of fuse boxes in a ready-to-be activated state are now capped at 3. So I'm thinking, does that mean that, I think that means there's only going to be 3 fuse boxes. I don't know if it means there's going to be, I think it means there's only 3 fuse boxes in a map now. There used to be more than 1 and you only had to fix a certain amount, but now I think they're limiting it to just 3. That'll make the map slower, I think, because people are gonna have to look around more for a gen. It's not gonna be like they were trying to do the Dead by Daylight thing at first, but now they're getting rid of that, which I think works better because now it makes it more. It's gonna slow it down a lot, because now you know how DBD has like 8 gens or 7. It's like 7 or 8 sitting around the map, and it's easy to just find one. Well, now they're eliminating that, and you're actually going to have to look around quite a bit to find these things. So I think that's cool though. So because there's a lot of people, so you're bound to find, somebody's bound to find one eventually. The location of those now also show up on the HUD of the hunter, giving them a clear objective. This addresses the feedback of the hunters being stuck, just wandering around the map with no clear direction. So in the previous beta, you couldn't see where the gens were at, or the fuse boxes were at to defend them. So now they're gonna make it so you can defend them. You can see where they're at. Kind of like how the killer can see the fuse boxes in DBD, or the gens in DBD. Does not play the same, by the way. It's totally different from DBD, like, because it's in everything's in first person, and it just feels, the atmosphere and everything feels differently than DBD. It doesn't. For DBD is like a little paintball arena, while this game has an actual, like, big world in it. This also gives survivors at least overwhelming choice of what fuse box to complete. There it is. Previously, there could be up to 9 different fuse boxes to complete. So there it is. We thought originally that more choice would be better, but it simply just ended up separating hunters and survivors, and in turn removing the pressure and fear from survivors. There you go. With the limited fuse box change, we had to make some adjustments to the power system. Now when a fuse box is completed, it starts a timer for a power crate to open one of these. So that makes you, it distracts you from just looking for the next fuse box. There is 1 crate per fuse box. It can be found in the general area around the fuse box, and currently it contains legendary supplies. So this crate will open a short period after the complete the fuse box, so hide around the area so you can pick up the supplies inside. So it's something extra to do to deviate from just starting the gens. Now you actually can get supplies, I'm sure. Now the only way this is gonna work, 12 problems, have a good night, have a good night. Yeah, I am super excited for HOD as well. I'm so stoked to play the next phase and stream it, and you guys will be able to come in and play if you're pre-ordered into the beta or part of the Kickstarter. So this thing is a good idea, but it's only going to be a good idea if whatever they put in this supply box has very great incentive for them to go get it. So that means that those legendary supplies or whatever that we're going to be getting need to be going towards very important things, like significant things that we want to risk getting killed to get the, you know, like in PUBG, you know, you might be able to get to these supplies and risk it to become stronger. Maybe you get a weapon in it. Who knows? Like something that'll defend you for another hit. Maybe add an extra hit. You know, something that this kind of makes it worth.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Something that makes it worthwhile.
You're freezing to death in game. Laphin. Lol.
I'm freezing. No, Von Vega, no. I don't want to die. We're gonna get back in there. We're gonna get back. We gotta discuss this. We gotta do it. We gotta talk about it. But yeah, these things will be important, but they gotta fill them with significant items that people actually want to risk for. So that said, okay, moving on. Base remaining survivor count. This allows us to increase the number of the tents encounters, their locations, and still have control over the number of the fuse boxes required for each section based on remaining survivor count. This is the placeholder model you will see in 1.5 testing that is currently implemented of the power crate. So we won't see the final version of the power crate. That's the one we're going to get for placeholder while we're playing. So with this fuse box change, you will no longer get kicked off of a fuse box when someone else activates one, which forced you to wait for a cooldown to get back on and complete it. We heard that this was a pain point, and this should resolve it. I mean, I didn't really mind the gen box cooldown, because here's the problem though. What if all three gens get covered right there at the beginning of the match? Just for some reason, somebody finds one of them, and another person finds the other one, and another person finds the third one, and they just all start them at the same time. Then what? But I'm not sure though. Maybe I read the previous part wrong. I have to go back and look at it. Server locations. The game's going to run smoother on this next beta because the game was kind of running really badly the first time. So now there's more servers in different locations: US, East, and West, and Europe. So the game should run a lot smoothly. Hidables. You are no longer instantly assassinated when found in a hideable. The hunter will pull you out where you will have a slim chance of getting away. Once survivor items perks are implemented, you guys listen to this. Listen carefully. Open your eardrums. Once survivor items and perks, survivor items and perks are implemented into the game, we expect this encounter to be much more tense. What is that? What kind of items and perks are we looking at? So the killer, and then they say in this, and they follow it up with saying in this testing phase, you'll still probably die right away. So they're not going to have the perks and the items in on this next testing phase. So if you get pulled out of one of these hideables, most likely you're going to die. But you do understand that maybe later when you get perks and items, you will be able to get away, defend yourself, or have some kind of edge. Like, that's exciting. So here's pulling them out. Like a quick thing. He just throws them out. Okay, and then another hideable. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And that's it. That is all for this week. See you next week in the game for the testing phase 1.5. I like that they're not changing and adding too much. They're changing and adding a little bit, letting us play it. Get the information, change and add a little bit, let us play it. Get the feedback, change and add a little bit, let us play it again until we're happy enough to be like, okay, now this is a full game. That's what the devs are doing, you guys, and I like that. I like that. TTVC in. I like it a lot. Oh God, what happened?
Hey, you're back.
Did
We
I
definitely
die?
didn't kidnap you and try to bring you back to the mainland.
Did I die?
What TV you